Hello all. Today we will read from the book of 1 Samuel, sometimes called 1 Kingdoms. This is the story of how a barren woman named Hannah prayed to God that she could have a son, and how her prayer was answered. Now there's an introduction to this story. It tells us that Hannah is a woman of Israel, that her husband has two wives, one who has children and one who does not. Hannah is the one who doesn't have children, and she's very sad because of this. The other thing we learn is that this family is fairly pious, because they go to Shiloh, where the tabernacle of the Lord is, every year to sacrifice to God. We will pick up the story in verse 9 of chapter 1. After they had eaten and drunk at Shiloh, Hannah rose and presented herself before the Lord. Now Eli the priest was sitting on the seat beside the doorpost of the temple of the Lord. She was deeply distressed and prayed to the Lord and wept bitterly. She made this vow, O Lord of hosts, if only you will look on the misery of your servant and remember me, and not forget your servant, but will give to your servant a male child, then I will set him before you as a Nazirite until the day of his death. He shall drink neither wine nor intoxicants, and no razor shall touch his head. As she continued praying before the Lord, Eli observed her mouth. Hannah was praying silently, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she was drunk. So Eli said to her, How long will you make a drunken spectacle of yourself? Put away your wine. But Hannah answered, No, my lord, I am a woman deeply troubled. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but I have been pouring out my soul before the Lord. Do not regard your servant as a worthless woman, for I have been speaking out of my great anxiety and vexation all this time. Then Eli answered, Go in peace. The God of Israel grant the petition you have made to him. And she said, Let your servant find favor in your sight. Then the woman went to her quarters. She ate and drank with her husband, and her countenance was sad no longer. They rose early in the morning and worshipped before the Lord. Then they went back to their house at Ramah. Elkanah, her husband, knew his wife Hannah, and the Lord remembered her. In due time Hannah conceived and bore a son. She named him Samuel, for she said, I have asked him of the Lord. The man Elkanah and all his household went up to offer to the Lord the yearly sacrifice and to pay his vow. But Hannah did not go up, for she said to her husband, As soon as the child is weaned, I will bring him, that he may appear in the presence of the Lord and remain there forever. I will offer him as a Nazirite for all time. Her husband Elkanah said to her, Do what seems best to you. Wait until you have weaned him. Only may the Lord establish his word. So the woman remained and nursed her son until she weaned him. And we'll move to chapter 2, which is Hannah's prayer. Hannah prayed and said, My heart exults in the Lord, my strength is exalted in my God. My mouth derides my enemies because I rejoice in my victory. There is no holy one like the Lord, no one besides you. There is no rock like our God. Talk no more so very proudly. Let not arrogance come from your mouth, for the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. The bows of the mighty are broken, but the feeble gird on strength. Those who were full have hired themselves out for bread, but those who were hungry are fat with spoil. The barren has borne 7, but she who has many children is forlorn. The Lord kills and brings to life. He brings down to Sheol and raises up. The Lord makes poor and makes rich. He brings low, he also exalts. He raises up the poor from the dust. He lifts the needy from the ash heap, to make them sit with princes and inherit a seat of honor. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and on them he has set the world. He will guard the feet of his faithful ones, but the wicked shall be cut off in darkness. For not by might does one prevail. The Lord, his adversary, shall be shattered. The Most High will thunder in heaven. The Lord will judge the ends of the earth. He will give strength to his king, and exalt the power of his anointed. Now this is a beautiful little story, just as it is, but there are also a few important things that we learn from it. We learn that having children is very important to people who worship God, even if we don't learn exactly why this is so. This is a question to hold in our minds. We learn that people in this situation, those who don't have children, might pray to God to ask Him to grant them a child. We learn that they sometimes promise to give those children who come as an answer to prayer back to God, to serve Him in a special way. This is what Nazirite refers to. We'll learn more about this too later on. But a Nazirite was someone who'd made a vow of a special kind to serve God in a certain way. And we learn that God often grants these requests, and not infrequently the children who are born in answer to prayer become very important servants of the Lord. They become central figures in God's work of salvation for all of humankind. And we learn a little bit of how to pray as we see how Hannah goes about praying. Now, all these points have an importance beyond this single story. Not least, they're points that we see once again surrounding the birth of the Virgin Mary, which is the feast that we're celebrating tonight and tomorrow on the eve and the day of September 8th. And we'll hear more about Samuel and what he did in the temple in November when we're talking about the entrance of the Virgin Mary into the temple. For now, have a wonderful evening. God bless you. It's nice to see you all.